is Patrick Rebstock here, and this is a continuation of my review of the Sony A7R, a compact full-frame mirrorless camera that has 36 megapixels, shoots 1080 60p video, has a really nice OLED screen, has an E-mount so it's compatible with the Metabones 3. You need to get version 3 for it to be full frame, and this has electronic pins. So you can see those pins in there. They connect with the Canon electronic pins. So you're supposed to have image stabilization, autofocus, and auto iris. So you can control it through the camera. So right here, I can just scroll through and I get my aperture, and then I got my ISO and my shutter speeds up here. And one thing that's really nice I've noticed with this camera is I can operate it with gloves on. I shoot a lot of time lapse, a lot of landscape photography where it's really cold, and it's usually early in the morning, in the middle of the night, or right at the end of the day when it's the coldest. So I love the fact that these mode dials are really easy to grab with gloves. I can even do the exposure compensation, hit the ISO, not too difficult. I can switch from autofocus to peaking mode. That's all really nice. All these mode dials, they did a really good job for such a small camera. That's really nice. Some of the little niggles that I've had with the camera that I didn't really like is I've noticed it's kind of finicky with these autofocus lenses. This is a Canon 70-200 2.82 IS, and I noticed sometimes the image stabilizer works, sometimes it doesn't. There's also something that's kind of a little funky with the aperture. Will sometimes work and sometimes not. Sometimes it'll flick to like 32 f32, then back to 0.07, which isn't even the aperture on this lens. So it just kind of trips out. So you need to disconnect the lens, take it off, put it back on, and it'll re-engage, and it usually works when you've done that, and it'll switch back into like autofocus mode and stuff. So I've noticed something similar with that on all the electronic lenses. So I've noticed that especially on my 17-40 and my 70-200. I really like on this camera manual lenses. I have this Nikon 50 1.8 that has worked really well. I think the manual lenses are a better match for this camera because they never have those issues, and when you're working in a professional shooting environment, you never want to have an issue that doesn't let you take the picture, or it messes up your exposure randomly. That's not really acceptable. So I've been shooting a lot with this camera on the 50 and 15 Nikon that this GoPro is actually sitting on top of. Sorry about that noise. That's my 70 shooting a time lapse, and I just have the GoPro set on top of it, so excuse the shutter sound. And then also I've been using a lot with the 800mm 5.6 and a 300-2.8. Both are manual, and it just works gorgeously with that. I'm really happy with the way this camera has been working with those lenses. Just my only kind of little problems that I've had with the camera are with this mount and the electronic lenses. And the thing that's kind of worrying me is when I first got the camera, and I've had it for about 2 weeks now, is it didn't really do that, and it was working all perfectly. And it seems like the more I've used it, the more issues I've found with these electronic lenses, which is, I mean, I can't blame them too much because you're using a Canon lens on a Sony camera and it works pretty well, but there are a few issues. So just to kind of let you know, I also shot a couple super ultra wide with my Tokina 10-17 as well. You zoom it into about 16 and it's just a super wide fisheye, so that's just kind of makes for some crazy effects. I've shot a whole bunch of different scenarios. I've shot landscape, I've shot time lapse, I've shot action sports like surfing, kite surfing, dirt biking, mountain biking, climbing gyms, rock climbing, portraiture. I've done all kinds of different photography with this, some shooting of wildlife, and I'm pretty happy. I really would like more frames per second always with the action sports, but I've noticed it's been pretty good. The resolution is great. The dynamic range is a huge improvement over my 7D, and I mean, the full frame aesthetic is really nice. This is a really beautiful sensor. It's a little bit funky with these manual lenses, or the automatic lenses, but see right there, there's a perfect example. I just went and took a photo, and you'll see that the camera went black and didn't actually take the photo. Oh, so you'll see if I kind of jiggle the camera, okay, now it came back to life. What is that? Is that a disconnecting of these electronics a little bit to make it misfire, or what's going on there, guys? That's similar to the issue, and then it works fine. So that's one of the kind of intermittent problems that it's had. So, you know, I would say I really like the camera. It's worked really well. Beautiful sensor. Love how much smaller the camera is. It's so much more unobtrusive, taking it into places people don't think you're a professional photographer. You can really go incognito. You're not walking in with this big old rig and all this crap to take you know, really high quality photos. So you can get into much more restricted spaces. You can kind of not really be as obtrusive in the environment. So for that, A7R, kick-ass. I really think it needs some firmware updates to kind of get a little of the issues out of the way, like but maybe version 2 of the camera or a firmware update could make this pretty unbelievable. And I definitely think it's the future of cameras. Not for professional autofocus, it's autofocus is abysmal, but I usually shoot manual lenses anyways. So there it is, the A7R. After shooting with it for a couple weeks, still really happy with it. If you're out there and you're looking for a full frame, high resolution sensor, I would go with this over the larger camera, just because it's so compact, it's so neat, and it's really a joy to shoot with. So see you guys later.